Hey everybody, this is Ronnie, and today we are going to start a brand spanking new series uh, about learning Java. Of course, if you've seen any of my other series, you know that I'm actually pretty into game development, um, and I will end up taking this series into a game development direction. But we're going to start really simple with the super basics and and build from there. The first thing that we're going to need to do is download Java and an IDE. So if you go to Google, type in JDK. Okay, that stands for Java Development Kit. And the first thing that pops up is Java SE downloads. Go ahead and click on that. You're going to come down. You can install any version of Java that you like. For this, I'm going to actually be using Java 8. So download the latest version of Java 8, which is going to be right here. Okay. Click on download under JDK. You come down here. Make sure that you're getting the latest version. Okay. That's 8U212. Click accept the license and then download the version for your operating system. Okay, mine is Windows x64. So you're going to download that, make sure it's the executable. And once it downloads, install it. Once it's installed, we're not done. Okay, but once it's installed, what you're going to do is just right click on your start button and go to system, select system info, and then advanced system settings. Go to environment variables. Okay, and this window is going to pop up. Now you're going to also want to open your file explorer, which I have right here, and go to your C drive. You're going to find the Java installation. It's probably it's in program files by default. Double click on Java, double click on the JDK, double click on bin. Okay, and this right here is your path to Java. This doesn't copy very well, so just click on in Windows 10, click on the folder right here, and it turns it into an actual path. Right click, copy, I cut, but it's all the same. You can close that. Then you're going to create a new environment variable. I'm not going to create a new one. Well, I'll click on it so you can see. What you got to do is you got to name this all in caps, JAVA _ HOME, and then paste your path. Okay. Like I said, I've already got it. You can see it right here. So that's once that's done, you save it, say okay, and you can close all of this. All right, the next thing, we are done with Java, is grabbing an IDE. Okay, me personally, I like NetBeans for Java. You know, I am a huge fan of Visual Studio, and right now Visual Studio does not support Java. Interestingly, I believe Video Studio Code does have a Java plugin, but we're going to go ahead and stick with NetBeans because it is proven. Okay, so go to Google, type in NetBeans, go to Welcome to NetBeans, and we're going to download NetBeans. Well, that's Apache NetBeans. That's not what we want. Well, you can download Apache NetBeans. It was NetBeans was taken over by Oracle, who is the company that makes Java, a couple of years ago, and they rolled it into Apache. So that's cool, but I'm actually using the 8.2. Okay, so you saw right there was a download for 8.2. Just come over here, and you can download any of these that you want. Most of them are absolutely overkill. Just download the regular Java SE, do the installation, and you will be done. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and suggest that you go ahead and put me on pause, finish your download and installation, and then once you're done with that, come back and we're going to write our first program. Okay, so now you've got NetBeans and Java installed on your system. We're going to go ahead and open NetBeans. When you do, you're going to get a window that looks just like this. Okay, like I said, this is NetBeans 8.2. We're going to start by creating a brand spanking new project. Okay, so click on this button right here for a new project. Select Java application, and hit next. And this is where we're going to go ahead and give it a name. Okay, so we'll call this Java Tut 1. You can tell it where to store. Here, we'll go ahead and create a someplace for it to go. Java Tut. And then hit finish. And it's going to go ahead and create for you your project and your base class. Okay, in this case, it's going to be the same name as the project. There's a couple of things to look here. Okay, you can put licensing information up here if you like, or get rid of it. You can change the name. Boom. And command line arguments go in here as parameters. Goodbye. This is where the magic happens. This is your main method. Okay, it's public. That means that it can be accessed from anywhere. Static, it's unchanging. Void, it does not return any information. Its name is main, and it takes a string array, an array of strings, as called args. It can't take that in. Okay, we're never going to do that, just so you know. And we can get rid of the to do because we're about to do. The first thing we're going to do is put in some variables. Okay, so we're going to start with a remark. Okay, and just say declare variables. In here, we're going to declare an int. That's integer. Okay, integers are whole numbers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 0 or negative numbers. -1, -2, -3, -4. Those are all integers. And we're going to call this product ID. At the end of every line of code, you're going to put a semicolon. Um, there are a couple of exceptions there. We'll get into those in future videos. So what we've done is we've said this tells the compiler, okay, to expect an integer that is called product ID to be used at some point in time in this program. The next thing we're going to do is create a string. Okay, now you might remember that it was a string right here. String is another data type. Okay, it's not the same kind of data as an int. Okay, let me go ahead and come down here, and we're going to go over variable types. Int is a data type. There are also you have byte. Byte is a single byte of data. Okay, bit is 8 bytes. Okay, so a byte is 1/8 of a bit. There is char. This is not going to be an exhaustive list, by the way. Char is a single character. Okay, generally a single character can be expressed in a byte. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about string, okay? Because string, even though it doesn't really belong in this list, okay, I'm going to put it in here because what string is string is a char array. And we'll get into arrays later. What an array is a linear group of the same type of data. Okay, so a char is any kind of character. That's what char stands for, is character. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, all of your numbers, 0 through 9, and but just single digits. And a string is a group of individual chars that are put together. Then we get really into the numbers. Okay, there's int. Okay, there's long, which is another type of int. Int 32, int 64, and these are literally just different lengths of integers. Okay, the int right now, when int was first introduced way back in the 20th century, it was basically an 8-bit number. The int right now, I believe, defaults to a 32-bit number. You can make it a 64-bit number. Then you've got float, and float is a floating point number. Okay, the floating point number is a number with a decimal point in it. Okay, so you've got your integer part. Okay, let's say 10.23687. Okay, this is a float. Okay, you've got your integer part, the decimal, and the part to the right. The last one I'm going to talk about is double. Okay, and interestingly, double is also like a float. Okay, it just has a lot more decimal places that can be put in, so it's considered to be more exact. With that said, like I said, this is not an extensive list, but this is kind of going over some of the things that you'll see. You're not going to see a whole bunch of it today, but we're going to create a string, which we're going to call product name. Now you see the way I'm typing this. This is called camel case. You start with a lowercase letter, type out the word. On the second word, or every following word, just capitalize the first letter. Okay, and we do this because we want to make sure that the names mean something. Okay, I mean, I could say int equals intx. Okay, and that is perfectly legitimate. Okay, you can do that. The problem is, what happens if I have to come back and do some work on the program in 3 months? Okay, and that and instead of the nice short less than 40 lines of code that I'm going to show you today, instead of that, what if it's 10,000 lines of code? And you come across X, the variable X, somewhere in there is doing something strange, and you don't know exactly what X is supposed to do. So we give it a meaningful name, all right, like product ID, and anytime it pops up, if there's an error there, we know what product ID does. It represents the identification number for a product. The next thing we're going to do is declare a double. And we're going to call that product price. Okay, so the way that I designed this, we've got an integer, which is a whole number, a string, which can be anything. Okay, a string can be any character, word. It can actually be a number, and then it can even be a phrase, and then a double. Okay, that represents price. Okay, of course I'm in the United States of America, so I'm going to be talking about U.S. dollars. Okay, which goes to 2 decimal places. The reason that we do this, we're telling we're telling Java, okay, that we need these placeholders, okay, and we're giving them a type so that Java knows what to do with them. Now, the next thing we're going to do is actually dig into Java itself, okay. Java is a language. It's more than just words that we type on the screen. Java has what we call libraries, okay, and APIs that that have functionality all by themselves. So you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel when you're using Java. Okay, and it's the same thing with most programming languages, C#, C++, Visual Basic, all of them. So what I want to do is I want to be able to put some information on the screen and take information from the user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a library from Java and use it. That library is called Scanner. Okay, this is very, very basic. So I'm going to type in Scanner. Okay, and as soon as I do, you see this red squiggly line. Okay, that's telling me there's something wrong. Okay, so I'm going to click over here, and the first thing that it tells me is add an import for java.util.scanner. And that's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to click on that. And you see up here, it says at the top, it put in import java.util.scanner. All right, so what this is saying is, for this class, I want you to give me the functionality in this class, and that's what this is. This is a class. It's called scanner. Okay. Now, this red squiggly line is still here, and that's actually because we haven't done anything to define our scanner. Okay. So we're going to call this input, and then we're going to create an actual instance of our scanner class. I think the next video, I'm going to go over object-oriented principles, and so that you understand exactly what all of this does. But I'm going to go ahead and say new scanner, and in the parentheses, I'm going to say system.in. And at the end, whoops, of the line, I'm going to put my semicolon. Always remember your semicolon. So what this does is it creates an instance of scanner. All right. Like I said, next video, I'm going to talk about instances and object-oriented programming. So now, so far, we can run this. Okay, if we come up here and hit the run button, we can run it, and it's going to pop up and say, build successful, total time 0 seconds, because it didn't really do anything. And that's the thing, it doesn't really do anything. So let's go ahead and make it do something with all of this information. So I'm going to type in system.out.println. There are, well, not println, I'm just going to do print. There are shortcuts to do these things. I'll teach those to you later. Right now it's important to do this correctly. And I did do a typo. Well, we'll go ahead and leave that there for the moment, so that you can see what happens when I do a typo. And we're going to do a quotation mark. It's going to automatically put the opening and closing quotation marks in place. I'm going to say enter product ID. And boom. Now, clearly, this entire line is has that red squiggly. So we know that there is something wrong here, okay? But even if it didn't, we'll go ahead and run it. And it says, hey, you have a compiling error, okay? I'm going to say run anyway. And it's going to give us an exception. It's going to tell us something is going on. And in this case, it's in our main method and on line 22. So we can come here and look, and sure enough, I accidentally hit a comma instead of a period. And there you go, all fixed. So the next line we're going to do is we're going to assign some input to a variable. Okay, so we're going to do product ID. That, remember, that's our int that we did up here, that we declared up here. And that equals input dot next int. Now, what this is saying is, I want to give product ID a value. Okay, I want to get that value from input, which is our scanner object, and I want it to be the next integer that is entered. And we will see how that works in just a moment. The next thing we're going to do is almost exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to actually highlight this, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, okay, and we're going to say enter product name. So this is going to be changed to product name. And here we don't want an integer for our product name. It's a string, right? So we're just going to say input.next. Okay, so this is saying make product name the value of the next line of input that is taken in. Okay, it can be anything at that point. And then finally, we're going to, since we've still got it on the clipboard, we're going to go ahead and paste again. And here, we're going to change ID to price and change product ID to product price. And we don't want another integer because once again, this is a double. So let's do next double. And the system is going to be looking for a double, which an integer can be a double, okay? But a double can't, no, I'm sorry, got that backwards. A double can be an integer, okay? But an integer can never be a double. Now, so what we're doing is it's going to pop up, it's going to ask these questions, it's going to receive the input from the user, and then finally, what we want to actually do something with this data. So I'm going to print that data to the screen. What I want to do is say system.out dot printf. Okay. Now printf is print is print. Okay. You got print. You got print line, and of course printf here. Printf, the F stands for formatted. Okay. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this that automatically populated. Okay. I'm going to do a quotation mark. I'm going to do a %, the letter N, the number 1, the word product, ID, colon, space, then another %, letter D, %, letter N, and I'm going to explain all this, then product name, %S, %N, and product price. Bet you had that one going. Colon and %.2 F and %N. Then we're going to skip past the closing quotation mark, go comma, and we're going to put our variables in. So we're going to start with product ID, do a comma, product name, comma, and product price. And then at the very end, we're going to put our semicolon. So let me go ahead. This is a pretty long line. Okay, so let me go through and explain exactly what this is doing. We're telling the system to output a line of printed text that is formatted. The first thing we're doing is, you know what, we can get rid of this one. All right. The first thing we're doing is we're telling it to make sure that it's starting on its own line. Okay, that's what that %in is for. Okay, this is the same thing. We'll get into that another time. But that %in says start on a new line. Okay, and then it's going to print product ID, and it's going to grab an integer. Okay, the %d means integer, and it's going to grab that from these arguments down here. Okay, so the first one is product ID, so it's going to go there. Then we tell it create a new line. Then it's going to say it's going to print out product name. It's going to grab a string. It's going to display a string, which corresponds to product name, and print a new line. Then it's going to do, it's going to print out product price. And then you see here we've got %, dot 2f. Okay, so the f is a floating point number. Remember, there are two types of floating point numbers. You've got floats and doubles. We're using doubles, but a float would work here as well. Okay, but our product price is a double. The point 2 says show me 2 digits, only 2 digits, after the decimal point, and then create a new line. And this right here, and let's go ahead and save. So, save button. And this right here is a complete program. Okay, we're going to go ahead and run it, and I'm going to show you how it works. So, run. You see down here in our output terminal, it says enter product ID. So let's go ahead and give it an ID number. Let's say 20,001. Oops. Click on it. 20,001. And then hit enter. Now it's asking for the product name. This is going to be a widget. Enter. And it's asking for the price. So we're going to say it's $25.82, but I'm going to mess it up and throw a 9 on the end. And hit enter. And now it tells us product ID is 20,001. The product name is widget, and the product price is $25.83. So it's took the $25.82.9 and rounded it up for us to $25.83. And there you go. That is an entire complete program that does something. And it doesn't say hello world. So the next video, I'm going to go over some object-oriented programming principles and a few other things about the Java API and libraries. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.